Okay. Another quest done. I can't see how they could squeeze another quest in here. We've done so much in this little ravine, but I suppose they could have another boss for us to fight. Maybe in a cave somewhere? No. That is well and truly it. Okay. We're out of there. We've got 2 to go to Tonkalei. And there's one out down here at Riplash Strand. That's the one I'll go do. And then we'll make our way back up toward the northern part of the continent. So, the Tuskaar are a very, very interesting race. And again, that's yet another allied race that people have wanted since they've seen them. They're pretty popular as a choice of suggestion, and you know, for the brief exposure that we get to them in this little bit of the one expansion, and it's actually said somewhere that if you take a Tuskaar away from Northrend or the cold, they will just perish. But you know, things can change, and with such deep and interesting lore behind such a tiny little snippet in the you know, for World of Warcraft, like this one little race that you know, is so spirited. They have such a rich lore behind them. I think there's even Tuskaar monuments on the flight up here. I don't know if you noticed. So that's another allied race choice that could very well come through. Not that I have any actual understanding of what they're going to choose as allied races. For all I know, the next ones could be Rhino Men. I don't know. Okay, so here's where I lost the audio for this whole section. I did a good chunk, so I'm gonna do another story episode, and yeah. As it turns out, I was wrong before about the Cavaldier here. They're not working with Arthas. They're raiding the coast here for their own reasons. Back at Garrosh's Landing, there was a Tuskaar named Waltor of Palea who sent us to see Karuk, who is the guy that was at that little tent just up the beach here, and he's our current quest giver. They were both displaced by the marauding Cavaldier, and Karuk is asking us to deliver justice for their village to the Cavaldier here who have destroyed it. I was probably confused because the Cavaldier are spirits, and the fact that the Lich King has no control over them is a little bit surprising. I might be wrong on that too, but the village of Palea sits just between these two areas, just after a little beachy area. There's the Riplash Strand and Garrosh's Landing. They kind of make an L, and at where that L makes that bend, that's where Palea is, and I don't think there's anything there. I never went there on my Warlock, and I never get a quest to go there. So until I was doing the research for this little bit, I didn't even know it was really there. Well, I think I knew, I don't think there's anything there. So essentially, once we deal with the leadership of the Kavaldir on the beat, Karuk's father, Ariut, shows up, and he asks us to seek out this Naga priestess. She doesn't really know why the Kavaldir are here, but she does know of more of their leadership, and so we head out to deal with that leadership. Now that he is dealt with, we can get the trident from him that we needed, and the trident has been imbued by Queen Ashara to have the ability to slay a sea monster that the Kavaldir have let loose to wreak havoc on the coastline. So we set out to do that. We find our sea monster under a nearby iceberg. If you can't fly, it's a fair swim, but you should be able to make it there no problem. And if you are having trouble with the sea monster, the trident is exactly perfect for that situation. So, now that we've helped the Naga priestess with her problem, helped Karuk bring honor to his father, we're finally ready to move on to the next Tuskaar settlement, Kaskala. This settlement, too, has been raided by the Kavaldir. It is the capital village of the Tusked people. The Tuskaar are very interconnected in terms of their cultural connections. All the villages trade whatever is near to them with their neighbors. Another important thing to the Tuskaar is marriage.
I require a target.
It's very important for their interconnected village system. Makes it so that when a loved one is wronged in some way, it's important to just about everybody that justice is seen through. The majority of all these quests are about the same. Basically, go out, take care of the Kavaldir, and then move on. In this case, we go see their elder, and he has us look for one of their missing, and then after we take care of that, we get sent to take care of the Kavaldir leadership. So, fairly basic. It's almost exactly the same as the Riplash Strand. So, it's consistent? Question mark. After finishing with these noble walrus folk, we head out of Borean Tundra completely. The path we take actually takes us through the last Tuskaar settlement of Unupe. It so far is untouched by the Cavalier rating. Unipe is important because it has a player transport to the Dragonblight. So if you wanted to follow this path and you had no flying ability in Wrath of the Lich King, you could take this player transport to Dragonblight much quicker than riding would take you. The other neat thing about the player transport is instead of being a actual boat or like a zeppelin or something, it is a turtle. They actually used some penguins from what I'm told as well, but I've never seen like a Tuskaar penguin hutch or something. So the boat connection from Unipe will take you directly to Milwaukee Harbor. And that is in the new zone, Dragonblight. On the flight in, we can see the quite recognizable activity of the blue dragonflight. They seem to be manipulating the ley line once again. At Milwaukee Harbor, the quests deal with the safety and well-being of the harbor itself. But as a nice change of pace, the dangers aren't the Cavalier, the surrounding wildlife and other mysteries. A nice thing about Milwaukee Harbor is when you go out and to look at the bay, there's always a turtle there for you to enjoy. Doesn't go anywhere, do anything, but there is a pleasant turtle right there. The first threat that they face is by the indigenous creatures, the Wolvar. Our task is to thin their numbers and borrow some cubs to be trained not to dislike the Tuskaar so much. The Wolvar here are vicious and dug into a route between the two Tuskaar villages. With the initial plan in place, we lastly need to deal with their leader, Logan. But with the immediate threat that the Wolvar had in the hills now taken care of, we can turn our attention to the second Tuskaar settlement and find out why Indule village has been so quiet. Toalu, the mystic, is the Tuskaar we need to see about scouting the quiet village of Indule. He gives us a spiritual insight which allows us to view the village without actually having to physically go there just yet. It is good experience. On arrival, we can see that everyone is either a spirit or crazed. This is not good. we find the Elder, and after we complete our scouting, all we can really do at this point is return to Milwaukee and gather our experience. Now is the time to physically go and find the Elder and commune with him and find out exactly what's gone wrong here. Like I said earlier, the Tuskaar are very sensitive when one of their numbers are hurt. Elder Manaloa has no way to heal what has befallen his village. So he has us go about the task of putting to rest all the spirits of the Tuskaar that have been disturbed by the events that unfolded here. The event that caused all of this destruction was the use of a leyline focus by the blue dragonflight. So it's even out here in the middle of the dragon blight, we can still feel the repercussions of the blue dragonflight's war on magic. And now that we're done laying the spirits to rest, we are being sent by Elder Manaloa to peacefully commune with the ocean spirit Owachanoa. Owachanoa is another giant sea monster. And she has a very simple task for us in order for us to prove our devotion to the ocean. Once we have proven ourselves to Owachanoa, she does have some words of wisdom for us.
Simply put, you must tell the Tuskaar that they cannot run. If they do so, their spirits will be destroyed by the evil rising within Northrend. Tell the mystic that his people are to stand and fight alongside the Horde and Alliance against the forces of Malygos and the Lich King. Now, swim back with the knowledge I have granted you. Do what you can for them, Nightborne.
I suppose I should be grateful that I didn't fail the quest, as I flew back to Milwaukee Harbor. However, all you really need to do is go see Tualu the Mystic, hand in your quest, and you're good to go. With that complete, we have but one task remaining in the harbor. Our last quest giver is a walrus man named Tuskaar, and he will have us going underwater to collect crab traps for the village. While we are gathering our traps, we happen to notice that one has been destroyed. Tuskaar, our quest giver, has an idea who it could be. Tuskaar, he who plays with his food. Its name says it all. If left to its own devices, it will wantonly decimate the food supply for the harbor. To lure him out, we'll need his favorite food, crab meat. Tuskaar sends us to a giant crustacean, Killua.
Away.
Name means two huge pincers. Probably two huge, delicious pincers. Now we are finally prepared to finish our problem with our fishy fiend, Tuskaar, the monstrous shark. And after a brief scuffle, the beast is slain, and we are free to move on from Milwaukee Harbor. Using the player transport that is available here at Milwaukee will take you back to Unape, or if you take the other boat, it will take you to Kamagua, and that is in the extremely Nordic zone of Howling Fjord. The Tuskaar here are living peacefully, simply fishing and hunting the local wildlife. However, once we are proven to them to be helpful allies, they do ask for our assistance in some matters of war. First, they'd like us to gather horns to be used as spears, and also to deal with a pirate menace that has recently sacked one of their villages. I'm sure it's only a matter of time before they move down and try to wrest control of the entire island. And with that task completed, we can move on from Kamagua to the last coastal Tuskaar task for us. If we follow the elaborate lift, we will find one of their number at the top. He has some more clues to the troubles of the Borean tundra, Tuskaar. His name is Orphis of Kamagua, and after this, there will be no more mystery behind the Gabaldir raids along the coast of the Borean tundra. Recently, when Tuskaar hunting trials were being done, their hunters would return with stories of the undead being brought back to life. This would not be too surprising in this expansion overall, as Arthas is the main antagonist, and his entire power is based in controlling the dead. But this actually has a different cause. Heading east, there is a burial hill for the ancient Vikrul called Shield Hill. The Vikrul were buried with various objects that were of use or powerful for them, and if the spirits and wandering skeletons weren't enough of a clue, the excavated graves should fill in any remaining questions. So now we know why the Kavaldir and these other ancient spirits are hulking out across the countryside. We report back to Orphus, who has us fly back or ride the lift back to Kamagua. At Kamagua, they have an informant from the pirates who at some point must have been cast away, and he now asks for refuge, and the Tuskaar provide it. Grezik's Spindlesnap does know somebody who would be willing to help us with our artifact problem, and his name is Silvermoon Harry. He will
How are you? Safe travels.
Too far away. I must get closer.
Hey there. Have a good one. You need something?
artifacts. So, once we gather up from Silvermoon Harry, we can head out and
Day to you.
finally gather our artifacts. However, on the way out, we notice a Tauren named Taruk,
To you.
and he is out for people to collect his debts for him. As we're in Scalawag Point and it's good experience, why not just go ahead and collect debts from Silvermoon Harry? Inside of the large building, there is a fella named Jack Adams, and he also has a debt to be paid to Taruk. Lastly, Taruk has us seek the debt of somebody who isn't even really alive anymore. A pirate that goes by the name Black Conrad. On our flight out to gather Black Conrad's treasure, we happen to notice a ship along the way. On this ship is a quest completion for us, and this quest first will send us to the ship's holds to gather gunpowder for the cannon,
Fire target.
and once we have the gunpowder, back onto the deck to the large cannon. So, using the large cannon, we will fire upon Sorlov, and once we have access to his booty more easily, we will fly down, snatch it up, and return to Captain Ellis, who will then give to us our Cavalier relic, the Shield of the Aesirites. Moving again towards Black Conrad's treasure, we notice another ship, but this one is sparking wildly. It's a good thing, actually, that we're looking for artifacts of great power. That way, when we see something like this, we know where to look exactly. For our second relic, the Staff of Storm. Finally, we make our way to Black Conrad's treasure. But when we get there, we find that Black Conrad isn't gonna let being a ghost stop him from defending his treasure. Shortly after that, we take a flight to the other side of the Howling Fjord, and it is here where we find our third Kavaldir relic, the armor of the Kavaldir. Once we are finished gathering up the musks for Handsome Terry, he will then have another quest for us where we help him with the assistance of Zagan, the troll, divine the exact identity of whoever it is that Annie Bon suspects is the traitor of the group. We find our way to Crowleg Dan, who readily admits to being the traitor, and we take care of him as well. Once we return to Handsome Terry, he sends us up to speak with Annie Bon herself.
See you around.
So from here we head out to gather Jonah Sterling's spyglass, and at the back of the cave, after we have dealt with Jonah Sterling and his monstrous polar bear, Hauser, we find the black heart of Isildorf. So that makes all of the Tuskaar taken care of, and all of the Vicro relics from the burial ground discovered. We are now free to return to Annie Bon,
How are you?
who assures us that once she's consolidated power among the various pirates that she
See you
does
later.
have power over, there will be no more raiding of the Tuskaar villages. And with our relics in hand, we can return to Orphis of Kamagua, who is at the top of the lift in Howling Fjord. I know that Orphis will be extremely relieved to see all of these relics returned. And once we show that we have each of the items required, he then immediately sends us out to bring the bundle of Vicrul artifacts back to Shield Hill. This does not go quite as planned. We put a lot of effort in to getting all of these artifacts. However, just as when we first arrived and investigated these Vicrul graves, again, as we return all of the artifacts, they each again in turn have an ominous message. As fate would have it, the return of the Vicrul relics to the burial mound on Shield Hill is not enough to quell the raiding Kavaldir across the southern shores of Northrend. And so, once again, we make our way back to Orphis of Kamagua and deliver the bad news. He has us fly back to Kamagua and deliver the news to the rest of the tribe, who prepare for the worst. This is the complete story of the coastal Tuskaar in Northrend. I hope you enjoyed. It was a pleasure to make. The day that I completed this video was the same day of the Battle for Azeroth pre-patch. So I'm going to enjoy some of that. I hope you do as well. And hopefully this Warlock is done the leveling process before the August release date of Battle for Azeroth.